We have to have a phased-in, clear policy of strategic decoupling. We have to disentangle our technology so that future technology is not dependent. Our defense industry is dependent on China. And the third part of strategic decoupling has to be outgoing and ingoing investment. It can only be in situations where it helps the United States. It's the capital markets, but it's also these individual investors. Yeah. We should have a clear policy where if they invest here, it's in our interest.
Joining me right now is the Atlas Organization founder. He is the author of the latest book, The Decisive Decade, a must-read, by the way. Jonathan D.T. Ward back with me. Jonathan, good to see you. I know that you agree with Robert Lighthizer in terms of decoupling, but you just heard what Gina Raimondo says. She says absolutely no decoupling. What do you see that this administration may not be seeing?
Well, look, I think you're starting to see a divergence in views of what to do about China. I mean, there's a lot of consensus on the China challenge, the China threat, whatever people want to call it. I mean, that's pretty broad now. But how to handle this? I mean, we're starting to see two very different approaches. And the current administration, I think, is going backwards into the old U.S. strategy, which was called engage but hedge, which basically said, look, we're going to have a business relationship, a deep economic relationship, and then we'll try to maintain military power. The problem with that is you lose the military edge over time. And their adjustment to that is this idea of a small garden, high fence, meaning there are just a handful of key technologies and industries that we need to protect. I mean, most importantly, among those being semiconductors, quantum, AI, those sorts of high-tech things. But I think the problem is it misunderstands that this is a much, much broader competition for power, one that Beijing is going to wage through real global economic strategies. And I think their approach simply fails to deal with Beijing's actual grand strategy. In order to dismantle their actual strategy, you have to go for the trunk of the tree, and that has to do with the fact that China can no longer rise, and it will not be able to compete unless it has access to our markets, our allies' markets, our capital, our allies' capital, and, of course, our technology and our allies' technology. Yeah. So they're focused on technology. They basically have a technology strategy, not a China strategy.
That's right.
And that's a real problem because we don't have a lot of time to get this right.